Hello boys and girls, welcome to your last flip video for the week. I'm hoping that it's been going well. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be less about actually solving problems and more about thinking about problems, and there are going to be a lot of notes you're going to have to take on this one. If it's a lot of notes, you can always print out the screens if your parents know how to do that, but I'd recommend writing it down. Writing it down is going to be a way that you know how it'll help you remember. But make sure you're pausing the screen when you're going back to take notes, and just make sure anything that's on the screen is probably something very important to write down. So let's go ahead and get started. So today's focus is going to be about word problems, and I know a lot of people, when they hear word problems, get very scared and overwhelmed and think that they're not going to do well. Well, I'm happy to tell you that word problems are actually pretty easy. I follow 5 different steps. The first one is I read it carefully 2 times. It's important to read it 2 times because there's always some information that you might not understand it, so I read it twice. Then I go back and I underline it for clue words because that helps me know what I'm supposed to do. I go back and I circle the important numbers. That just makes sure that I know what numbers I'm working with. I put a nice little box around the actual question, and then I actually cross out the extra information that I don't need. Once I have that all done, it really helps me to understand what exactly the question's asking. I have all my important information right there. It just helps me a lot. So I'm going to undo that cross off so you can make sure. Oh, there's a dog barking out here. Sorry about that. But make sure you have these written down because they're very important steps to take. So there are some clue words for both addition and subtraction. When we get to multiplication and division, we'll do another word problem video. Right here where it said click here for printable practice page, there is a page that I found on the internet that you can print out for extra practice. I will also put a link to that in the description of the video, but if you're watching on a computer, you can just click there and it'll take you right to that page. So this would be a really good screen after I'm done talking to pause and make sure you have everything written down. So some clue words for addition, and now these are not all the clue words, these are just very common ones I could think of for addition and subtraction. If it says altogether, generally speaking, that means that it's going to be adding, and in all, total, sum, increase, or got, or received, or something along that lines. That means that it's addition. Basically, if it's asking you that you have 2 or 3 or 4 amounts and you're bringing them together, that's going to be addition. Now on the flip side, subtraction is the opposite. If it says that more or less than, you're comparing 2 different things. You're saying that one is bigger or taller or better than the other. Any word that ends in ER, generally speaking, is going to be a subtraction, like taller, shorter, more than, less than, decreased, ate, spent, because once you eat something, you spend money, you gave it away. The difference, give away, or how much was left. All of these words are going to mean that you are subtracting things, or you're going to start with an amount and take some away from it. So these are clue words to help you really analyze word problems. So make sure you pause the screen, make sure you write everything down. If you need to, at the end of the video, come back, go to the printable practice page and try it out. So we're going to actually walk through my steps on 2 different problems, and we're going to determine if this is an addition problem or a subtraction problem. So let's go. Step number 1 was to read it carefully 2 times. Last year at Oxford's airport, 2,682 passengers landed on time. Unfortunately, 7,581 passengers landed late. In all, how many passengers landed in Oxford last year? So I've read it once. Let's go back and read it again. Last year at Oxford's airport, 2,682 passengers landed on time. Unfortunately, 7,571 passengers landed late. In all, how many passengers landed in Oxford last year? So I've read it twice. Let's see what my next step is. Underline clue words. So I'm looking back. I'm looking for my clue words. I see in all, and I remember that in all was a clue word for addition. So I'm going to have a clue that this might be an addition problem. So in all, I don't see any others. Let's see what my other circle important numbers. So I see a number here. I'm going to circle that. Oops, let me try that again. Circle that number. circle that number. Okay. Box the question. So my question is down here. Making sure that I don't, whoa. Hopefully you're using pencil and have better control over this than I do. And cross out any extra info. I don't see any extra info. So now, in all, I know that's going to be adding. So if and my two numbers, 2,682 and 7,571. If I were to add that up, that would be an addition problem. I'm not actually going to add it up because we're just focusing on the word problems. So let's go to my second problem. First step, read it carefully 2 times. Mr. B is 70 inches tall. His best friend is 73 inches tall. Courtney, who's my sister, is 60 inches tall. How much taller is Mr. B than Courtney? So now I've got to go back and read it a second time. Mr. B is 70 inches tall. His best friend is 73 inches tall. Courtney is 60 inches tall. How much taller is Mr. B than Courtney? So I've read it carefully 2 times. Underline clue words. Okay, I'm seeing taller. I know that's a subtraction word because it ends in ER. I'm going to say taller than. I'm actually going to underline that whole phrase because that's all important. Next one is circle important numbers. So 70 is going to be important because I see Mr. B and Mr. B. Courtney, the 60 is going to be important. Don't see anything about my best friend, so I'm not going to circle the 73 there. Box the question. So the question here is how much taller is Mr. B than Courtney? And cross out extra information. They're not asking me anything about my best friend, so I'm just going to cross that off because I don't need it. So how much taller? So it's basically, I want to do 70 minus, because I have the taller there, 70 minus 60. And that's an easy one to solve, so I'll just do that really quickly. So 10 inches difference. So that's me modeling to you what word problems are. So what I need you to bring back to school is I need you to write down this word problem or print it out, whatever makes it best for you. And it says the class earned 5 minutes of extra recess on Monday, 7 minutes on Tuesday, and 10 minutes on Wednesday. What was the total amount of extra recess earned on all 3 days? So I want you to obviously read it twice. I want you to go through all the steps. I want you to underline clue words. I want you to circle important numbers, box out the question, cross out any information that's not needed, bring it back to school. If you want to challenge yourself, solve it. See what the answer to that question is. If you do still need more extra practice with it, you can log on to ixl.com. Make sure you log in and visit either B2 or C2. But here's your final problem, and good luck. I will see you in the morning.